Hello there, my name's Christina Mackay, the co-founder of INN, and today I want to talk about pitching. I'm going to focus on pitching to investors, but this could apply to pitching anywhere, so sales pitches, pitching to clients, anything you like. I'm going to structure it around what I call the dance, the sing, and the lyrics. And by this I mean the dance is your body language, the sing is your voice, your tone of voice, and the lyrics is what you actually say. Some research was done quite a long time ago that showed the dance, your body language, actually accounts for 55% of your communication. And then your tone of voice is 38%, and what you actually say is only 7%. Now, whether that's entirely accurate, there has been some cases to disprove that, but I think it's really powerful to show how important your body language and your tone of voice is. Now, when we talk about these aspects, I want to think about it from before you even enter the room, and then during your pitch, and then after your pitch, so as you're leaving the room. So let's start with the dance or your body language. So before you enter the room, just make sure you're feeling nice and calm and confident. Make sure you're standing tall with your shoulders back, and walk into the room with a big smile, really calmly, really confidently, and go over to your investors or your clients, whoever it may be, and shake their hands. So many times I see people rush to the desk or the technology wherever they're presenting the PowerPoint presentation, connecting it up, being all flustered. Not a great way to start the room. They are watching you the second you walk into the room. So come in with that confidence, be someone that they want to do business with. So that's sort of the before aspect. Then let's talk about during, and staying with body language here. So during, it's good to use your hands a little bit. You can use them to emphasize points, make it really clear with your 1, 2, 3. Make it, if you're really emphasizing a key point, you can use your hands to do that. But don't be erratic with your hands. Keep it calm. And then with your movement, your body language, sometimes I like to imagine a box on the floor with some diagonal lines. And within that box, I can walk backwards, I can walk forwards, I can walk across, and I can walk diagonally. But I'm not running around. I'm not moving too quickly. I'm not pacing back and forward. It's quite a calm movement, and it just makes people feel that I'm not too stiff. I'm not just standing in one place, but equally I'm not distracting them from what I'm trying to say or what's on the screen behind me. So just doing that can be helpful. So then just quickly touching on the after your presentation, just want you to think about, again, you're still on show until you leave that room. So leave with the confidence, the calmness, leave with a smile as you're exiting. So now I want to go on to the sing, or the tone of your voice. So again, let's start with before you even enter the room. If you haven't spoken to anyone that day, this is your first meeting, I'd like you to clear your throat and just say a few words. I don't care if someone passing by thinks you're silly or thinks you're mad. Just make sure the first word that comes out of your mouth isn't a really sudden, high-pitched word because you haven't spoken that day yet. So just say a few words and clear your throat and have a glass of water. So then when you enter the room, we talked about going over to shake their hands, and here it's important that you introduce yourself. So say your name, Christina Mackay. Say it clearly and calmly. So many times, I think the majority of the time I hear people introduce themselves, they rush their name so much that I don't catch their name. It's important you don't do that. You want them to remember your name, remember who you are. So take your time, there's no rush at all. And then try to remember their names as well. Now that's tricky. I'm not always great at that when you're trying to come across well, trying to make sure your handshake's right, you don't tread on their toe, and trying to remember their name as well. That can be tricky, but do try to remember their name. So then you go over and you start presenting. So in terms of your sing, your voice, your tone, don't be monotone. That can be boring and it can send people to sleep. Equally, don't be erratic. Thinking about pace, don't rush it. There's no rush at all. It's better to say less and leave them wanting more, having understood what you did say, then you rush through trying to cover everything and they think, I didn't understand that, I didn't understand a word, so I'm not interested. So take your time. Breathe. Remember to breathe. Now I know that sounds silly, but what happens when you go into pitching, and to be honest, when you do any sort of presentation, you are a bit more nervous or excited, and you have a bit of adrenaline, and you start to take shallower breaths. And because you're taking shallower breaths, you're not letting all that oxygen into your lungs and into your brain, and you're starting to, just a little difficult to talk and difficult to finish your sentences. There's no rush, so take a pause, take a really deep breath, and it will just really help you come across better, come across calmer, and articulate your words better. So take a breath. Oh, and the final one is just a personal pet peeve of mine: don't go up at the end of your sentences. I hear that a lot, but a lot of people don't like it, so try not to go up at the end of your sentences. And then finally, when you're leaving, so after your presentation, say goodbye, leave with that confidence and that sincerity. And just a note on, if they've asked you some questions after your presentation, I have seen some people get quite defensive, and I completely understand that. This is your business, you worked incredibly hard on it, you're really proud of it, but when they ask questions, I tell you, if they're asking questions and they're asking really difficult questions, that's a good thing. It shows they're interested. If they thought your business was terrible, they wouldn't waste their own time by asking you questions. So it's a good thing. Don't think that they're being unkind or judging you or thinking that you've got a bad business. But it's really important that you can take their questions, not be defensive, and if they do have a criticism, be really open to solving that problem for them. So that's crucial. So finally, on this topic, it's the lyrics. So it's what you actually say, your verbal. Now, in terms of before is all about preparation. So when I talk about preparation, it's preparing your slides, but it's really about knowing your stuff off by heart. I want you to be in a position that if technology failed you and you couldn't have slides, that you could deliver your pitch off by heart, no problem at all. And being able to do that gives you so much more confidence when you walk in the room. So in terms of the lyrics and the verbal, it's knowing your stuff beforehand. Then when you're in the room and you're delivering your pitch, your presentation, think about signposting where you're at, and storytelling, and I'm going to talk a bit about that in one moment. And then also think about power talk. So think about I will, and I have, and we will achieve this, and our customers thought, our customers were biting at the bit for our product and service, and we have X amount of transactions through the door already. So think about confidence, power talk, really getting the room excited about what you're telling them. And then afterwards, when you're leaving the room, make sure you've said goodbye, but also make sure you've left with a call to action. So are they contacting you, or are you contacting them? Do they have your details? Do you have their details? What's the next step? Are you supposed to send them something, send them some documentation? Make sure there's a real clear call to action after your pitch before you leave the room. So that's your dance, sing and lyrics. Now, as I said, I want to touch on your storytelling and a bit of signposting. So this is what goes into your pitch, whether it's just a verbal pitch or whether it's a presentation. So I want to start with a hook. It's really important you have a hook at the beginning. One effective way to do your hook is to ask the audience a question. So to ask the potential investors or your clients a question. And that could be a question about a problem they might have had, or a funny story, whatever you like. So ask them a question because it wakes them up, it gets them engaged. And for example, if you shared a problem, so just thinking, have you ever been out and about and your phone battery died? You've asked that question. That's not the most powerful hook in the world, but you've asked a question. It's happened to most people. They might start paying attention because they think, oh, that has happened to me. Are you going to solve that? So they might start to get interested. So open with a hook or a big bang, bigger the better, wake them up, get them interested. So then onto the vision of your business. So this is to win over the hearts and minds. Are you solving a big problem? Where do you see your business going? Are you going to be the next unicorn? Really sell them on your dream and blue sky thinking. And next we go into the meat of the presentation. And I really like to see this around sort of 3 key areas. And the first one is the facts and figures. Lay down some facts and figures that will excite the analytical person in the room, get them interested. And facts and figures will often include the problem. So you might say, we've got a market size of 100 million people, and they all suffer from some form of XYZ. So facts and figures are often the problem. Secondly, it's your solution. So how are you going to solve that? Get them excited about that. And then thirdly, the size of the prize. So how much money can you make from that? What's your business model? Get them really excited about that. After you've gone through those 3 points, then summarize. So essentially it's all about telling them what you're going to tell them, tell it to them, tell them what you've just told them. That's some of the key things about communication. So you summarize, and then I want you to close with this call to action. So this goes back to who's contacting who, etc. And what do they need? What materials do they need? So that's a bit about storytelling. Now, finally, I want to touch on some tools, and really this is just to help you think through if you are doing your presentation. Just 3 really quick, simple ones. Number 1, be consistent. So be consistent with your format, your font, your colours. This is just because you don't want to distract them. You don't want to distract them with anything else. And similar, make sure your spelling and grammar is correct, because that can be a distraction for some people. So be consistent, keep it simple. Secondly, less is more. So only have about 3 to 5 bullets per slide. Don't clutter the slides. You can talk about it, and you can provide them with more information afterwards. You can have an appendix as long as you like, quite frankly. You can have all the detail in that you want. So put the detail in the appendix and keep the slides really light. It helps the audience, so the investor or your clients, whoever it may be. It helps them focus on you and what you're saying, and it helps them digest the information more easily. And then finally, bring in some variety of graphs, pictures, videos, images, because again, this just helps bring it to life. It helps the investor or the client really understand what you're delivering. It helps them envisage it. People learn things different ways, some through words, some through pictures, some through hearing. So just bringing in some graphs and pictures can really help. So those are some tips on pitching. Hope you enjoyed them. If you have any comments, or if you have some better tips that I've missed off, I'd love to hear them. So please either comment below or join inn.global, and you can private message me or chat with me live. Thank you so much. Bye.